The current COVID-19 pandemic is a source of anxiety for people everywhere. They're scared because they don't know how to deal with it. On today's show, we will have a discussion on the role of food supplements in building our immune system. Dr. Pandey is a scientist, and he's joining us from his lab in New Jersey. Please join me in welcoming him to the show. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you, Molly, for inviting me to your show.
All right. So first of all, how are you doing? How's everyone dealing with the situation in New Jersey?
Well, it has been a difficult times, and I agree. I mean, this has been becoming a pandemic. We were kind of hoping this will go off, not at least to this length should sustain, but we are hoping to have a better day sooner.
Yes, well, that's good to hear, coming from a scientist. So, what are some of the things that people can do in terms of building their immune system?
Well, first of all, I would say the very things which different organizations, governments have actually put in place, especially the social distancing, is the prime important. Back to our nutrition. That is also something which we have to look. Oftentimes we have been not considering immunity as the prime focus in our life. Unless you get sick, you have cough, you have cold, you don't think much about the immunity. Nowadays we are more concerned about how much calories we are eating, or how much blood sugar we have, and we should be concerned about those things. But immunity actually is not just when it doesn't kick when you have cold and cough. It actually protects you all the time. It's like a shield, unseen shield which is around you. So yes, of course, nutrition plays a big role in maintaining that shield and maintaining to protect you against various diseases, which is one of the things which we have to look deeper with our current dietary lifestyle, I would say.
Okay, so what is the solution? Like, people are at home. I guess you alluded to it, that people are looking at it a little bit differently, because now a lot of people have time. They're at home because of social distancing, and so they're having to think about some things that they weren't able to before because of the business, right?
Absolutely.
So what are some of the things that they can do?
One of the things which people should look into in their nutrition, daily food intake, is how much processed food you are taking. This is something which I find in Western diet not often becoming a major source of issue. See, we eat a lot of processed food. When I say processed food, I'm talking about almost everything which we are eating. It's not just the junk food. If you see today, when you take your breakfast cereals, you actually find that the manufacturers have to put more fiber into those breakfast cereal. Now, coming back from Indian roots, that if you take these cereals, if you take your wheat in a proper order without much processing, which happens nowadays, you get most of your vitamins, minerals, and so on, and you do not get lacking in vitamins. In today's situation, if you see the Western diet, you are having often lack of multivitamins. In B, you are deficient in D, and so on. These things you often get from your food. The reason why we are processing food, we are actually basically making the food only rich in calories, not in the nutrients. I say this word that what we eat is basically high in calories and low in nutrition. So we're taking calorie-rich food, but really poor in nutrients. And when I say nutrients, we're talking about vitamins, but we're also talking about the micronutrients. And those micronutrients are very important for the balanced immune system. Things like zinc, selenium, several other minerals, they are there for proper balance of your immune system. So without these elements into your nutrition, you actually do not have a good, nutrient health for your immune system.
Okay, so now people are living in North America, and this is part of our daily life, and a lot of people have started to look into getting, healthier foods. But in the meantime, are there any recommendations that you can make in terms of supplements? You talked about selenium, you talked about zinc, vitamin D is very, very good. What are some other things that people can take to supplement?
Well, it's an interesting question because Ayurveda has a rich tradition, and Indians often, I would say, they're ignorant on that part. Ayurveda provides you a huge amount of herbs, which have been very much, helpful in maintaining our health for ages. It's not something which you find in the books. Those books were written 5,000 years back, but they really have been a part and principle of our health. So in Ayurveda, we find several herbs and their formulations, which actually have been key for, let's say, better immune function. How to get proper nutrient from your food. What kind of support you should have when it's let's say a cold season or a rough season in terms of weather. So Ayurveda actually provides you a lot of herbal support. And Ayurveda gives us the knowledge of what nutrients your body can actually use to benefit in these times. Now, when we talk about food is something which provides us complete nutrient. Now, since we are eating a lot of processed food, we are lacking in certain things, we often need to supplement our diet. And this is why the supplements are called...
They're called supplements. Exactly.
To overcome what you lack in your nutrients. So in Ayurveda, we have found that there have been several herbs which actually are very much important when you talk about immunity. And especially in these times when you are looking towards a virus pandemic, your diet, if it has certain antivirals, it may be actually beneficial at this point.
Okay, so what are these supplements?
Well, a couple of things I will discuss. One is turmeric. Now,
Turmeric, yeah.
That part of this Ayurveda food is you're taking it as a medication. You're taking as a part of your food, as a part of your supplements. Often we take turmeric, and turmeric is well known in Indian culture. I mean, every household has, I would say, a bottle of turmeric. Everyone eats maybe twice to thrice a day. And turmeric has been part of our staple diet. Now, one of the good things about turmeric is that it has not only a very good anti-inflammatory activity, it's a very good immune beneficial. So when you're talking about turmeric, we're very much interested in what actually provides turmeric its health benefits. So the science looked into the turmeric, for example, and they found that the yellow color, which often turmeric is known for, it comes from a compound called curcumin. And this curcumin is responsible for its antioxidant activity, it's for antimicrobial activity, antiviral is also part of it. It is very good anti-inflammatory. Now, if I have to give one single ingredient for turmeric, now curcumin studies to show that it is a very good antiviral also. So it actually helps. Studies to show that it is a very good antiviral also. So it actually helps against viruses. Viruses which have protective system around themselves so that the body's immune system does not identifies them while they move from one cell to another.
All right. So any other supplement you can recommend?
Plenty of. For example, one of the things which we often take in Ayurveda is your Tulsi. Tulsi is a very effective antimicrobial and antiviral. It's a very good active, it has something called eugenol. Eugenol is well known for that. If I have to take another example, is Vigesar. Vigesar, in English, it's called Pterocarpus marsupium. Vigesar is known for several health benefits, especially when it comes to diabetes. But Vigesar also has active, which is very close to resveratrol, and resveratrol and compounds like resveratrol, analogs of resveratrol, also have found to be very good antiviral products. Green coffee bean, for example, contains very interesting compound called chlorogenic acid. Okay. This also has got a very good antiviral activity. And one of the things which we may also have in our kitchen is black seeds, black cumin seeds. Black cumin seeds also have very good antiviral actives in their oil itself. Apart from this, you have minerals, zinc, selenium. You have vitamins like vitamin C. So these things are something which one can look and try to blend their let's say supplements along with them or food, and be safe in this time.
All right. Well, that's really, really good information. And what I really like about this is that most of these things are readily available in most kitchens. And if there is someone who's watching and you don't have it available, well, a lot of these supplements are available from health food stores, and they are all supplying. So you can order them online and get them. Thank you so much for being here, Dr. Pandey. Appreciate your insight, and stay safe. And thank you so much for being here.
Thank you so much, Molly.
All right, and you guys don't go anywhere. We have lots more for you.
In December 2019, the Chinese authorities notified the world that a virus was spreading through their communities. In the following months, it spread to other countries, with cases doubling within days. This virus is the severe acute respiratory syndrome-related coronavirus 2 that causes the disease called COVID-19 and that everyone simply calls coronavirus. What actually happens when it infects a human, and what should we all do? A virus is really just a hull around genetic material and a few proteins, arguably not even a living thing. It can only make more of itself by entering a living cell. Corona may spread via surfaces, but it's still uncertain how long it can survive on them. Its main way of spreading seems to be droplet infection, when people cough, or if you touch someone who's ill and then your face, say rubbing your eyes or nose. The virus starts its journey here and then hitches a ride as a stowaway deeper into the body. Its destinations are the intestines, the spleen, or the lungs, where it can have the most dramatic effect. Even just a few coronaviruses can cause quite a dramatic situation. The lungs are lined with billions of epithelial cells. These are the border cells of your body, lining your organs and mucosa, waiting to be infected. Corona connects to a specific receptor on its victim's membranes to inject its genetic material. The cell, ignorant of what's happening, executes the new instructions, which are pretty simple: copy and reassemble. It fills up with more and more copies of the original virus until it reaches a critical point and receives one final order: self-destruct. The cell sort of melts away, releasing new corona particles, ready to attack more cells. The number of infected cells grows exponentially. After about 10 days, millions of body cells are infected and billions of viruses swarm the lungs. The virus has not caused too much damage yet, but corona is now going to release a real beast on you, your own immune system. The immune system, while there to protect you, can actually be pretty dangerous to yourself and needs tight regulation. And as immune cells pour into the lungs to fight the virus, corona infects some of them and creates confusion. Cells have neither ears nor eyes. They communicate mostly via tiny information proteins called cytokines. Nearly every important immune reaction is controlled by them. Corona causes infected immune cells to overreact and yell bloody murder. In a sense, it puts the immune system into a fighting frenzy and sends way more soldiers than it should, wasting its resources and causing damage. Two kinds of cells in particular wreak havoc. First, neutrophils, which are great at killing stuff, including ourselves. As they arrive in their thousands, they start pumping out enzymes that destroy as many friends as enemies. The other important type of cells that go into a frenzy are killer T cells, which usually order infected cells to commit controlled suicide. Confused as they are, they start ordering healthy cells to kill themselves too. The more and more immune cells arrive, the more damage they do, and the more healthy lung tissue they kill. This might get so bad that it can cause permanent, irreversible damage that leads to lifelong disabilities. In most cases, the immune system slowly regains control. It kills the infected cells, intercepts the viruses trying to infect new ones, and cleans up the battlefield. Recovery begins. The majority of people infected by corona will get through it with relatively mild symptoms. But many cases become severe or even critical. We don't know the percentage because not all cases have been identified, but it's safe to say that there is a lot more than with the flu. In more severe cases, millions of epithelial cells have died, and with them, the lung's protective lining is gone. That means that the alveoli, tiny air sacs via which breathing occurs, can be infected by bacteria that aren't usually a big problem. Patients get pneumonia, respiration becomes hard or even fails, and patients need ventilators to survive. The immune system has fought at full capacity for weeks and made millions of antiviral weapons. And as thousands of bacteria rapidly multiply, it is overwhelmed. They enter the blood and overrun the body. If this happens, death is very likely. The coronavirus is often compared to the flu, but actually, it's much more dangerous. While the exact death rate is hard to pin down during an ongoing pandemic, we know for sure that it's much more contagious and spreads faster than the flu. There are two futures for a pandemic like corona: fast and slow. Which future we will see depends on how we all react to it in the early days of the outbreak. A fast pandemic will be horrible and cost many lives. A slow pandemic will not be remembered by the history books. The worst-case scenario for a fast pandemic begins with a very rapid rate of infection because there are no countermeasures in place to slow it down. Why is this so bad? In a fast pandemic, many people get sick at the same time. If the numbers get too large, healthcare systems become unable to handle it. There aren't enough resources like medical staff or equipment like ventilators left to help everybody. People will die untreated. And as more healthcare workers get sick themselves, the capacity of healthcare systems falls even further. If this becomes the case, then horrible decisions will have to be made about who gets to live and who doesn't. The number of deaths rises significantly in such a scenario. To avoid this, the world, that means all of us, needs to do what it can to turn this into a slow pandemic. A pandemic is slowed down by the right responses, especially in the early phase, so that everyone who gets sick can get treatment and there's no crunch point with overwhelmed hospitals. Since we don't have a vaccine for corona, we have to socially engineer our behavior to act like a social vaccine. This simply means two things: not getting infected and not infecting others. Although it sounds trivial, the very best thing you can do is to wash your hands. Soap is actually a powerful tool. The coronavirus is encased in what is basically a layer of fat. Soap breaks that fat apart and leaves it unable to infect you. It also makes your hands slippery, and with the mechanical motions of washing, viruses are ripped away. To do it properly, wash your hands as if you've just cut up some jalapenos and want to put in your contacts next. The next thing is social distancing, which is not a nice experience, but a nice thing to do. This means no hugging, no handshakes. If you can stay at home to protect those who need to be out for society to function, from doctors to cashiers or police officers. You depend on all of them. They all depend on you to not get sick. On a larger level, there are quarantines, which can mean different things, from travel restrictions or actual orders to stay at home. Quarantines are not great to experience and certainly not popular, but they buy us, and especially the researchers working on medication and vaccination, crucial time. So if you are put under quarantine, you should understand why and respect it. None of this is fun, but looking at the big picture, it is a really small price to pay. The question of how pandemics end depends on how they start. If they start fast with a steep slope, they end badly. If they start slow with a not so steep slope, they end okayish. And in this day and age, it really is in all of our hands, literally and figuratively. A huge thanks to the experts who helped us on short notice with this video, especially Our World in Data, the online publication for research and data on the world's largest problems and how to make progress solving them. Check out their site. It also includes a constantly updated page on the corona pandemic.
This is Jay Banerjee, your real estate agent, to give you your regular update from January all the way until the 2nd of May. The report has come out even comparing to the same time a year ago for the month of April. So let me give you the perspective. In April 2019, yes, there were 9,000 homes that had sold. And yes, in April of last month, there were approximately 3,000 homes that sold. Now, obviously, that's 6,000 because it's the buyer and the seller, of course. So the actual numbers are, it came down 67%. However, the reality is that a true picture given the pandemic of the real estate market? The answer is no, it's not. This is our special circumstances, and I pray, and I want to just wish each one of you to be safe and sound, and I'm sure you're all home. If you look at the season, the number of homes, the percentage of decrease in the number of sales is about 66%. Having said that, if you compare the number of inventory, the homes that have come on the market is pretty similar. The average selling price of a home in Toronto in 2019 was $820,373. April of 2020, as in last month, it was $821,392, an increase of just about 1% or 0.1%. Now, if we look at that compared to the previous month, if you look at the price of properties overall in April 2020, say from March, it does show a decrease because the detached homes, the big ones, have come down. However, about 8% for now. But then the townhouses, the condos, these have either maintained itself or they come down basically 1.9%. But here is an interesting stat. In April 2019, 17,000 plus properties actually came on the market, new properties, while this last April only 6,174 properties actually came on the market. In other words, that decrease is kind of consistent. It's a decrease of 64%, while the number of sales dropped 67%. So you see what I mean? Therefore, the market supply, the market demand kind of came down and will go back up again as well, because what goes down goes up. And I should let you know for our viewers, this is Toronto. Toronto is very unique. We have a strong market, and with the immigration, the world wants to come to Canada. Here's an interesting stat. In 2019 April, this is called days on the market. These are important numbers to understand. It was taking 26 days on average for a home to be on the market before it sold. But in April of 2020, as in last month, it was 24 days. It was a little tighter, which means for people who are out there serious buyers, serious sellers, the demand has actually increased because the days on the market came down. So if you look at the overall picture, the home index, yes, there are more properties selling at below $1 million. Certain parts are selling more than the others. But here's the best part. If you absolutely have to sell, there will be a buyer for you. 3,000 homes sold. 3,000 sellers put them on the market. They trusted a realtor, it sold. It also means that yes, we know that it could be a number as high as 20% of the people that I know have lost jobs right now. Though those seasonal, hopefully they will all come back. But what it also means is that 80% of our population is working. And that's the good news. And the curve is flattening. I pray that the curve and the solution will all come together real soon. And we'll be able to give you better and good news and better news updates on the real estate market and that your investment, past, present, or future, is safe. Today, I'm only saying to you that we as realtors, we want to be there for you. If anybody needs my help, and I'm not talking just real estate, like reach out to me, has a concern, just to talk to me about it. You can call me at 647-273-1119. My name is Jay Banerjee. I'm your realtor and the real estate expert from RE/MAX Realtron, and I look forward to hearing from you. In the meantime, stay safe.